On the 26th of April, 1986, at the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant in northern Ukraine, reactor number 4 exploded during a safety test. The plant stood beside Pripyat, a town built for the people who ran it, north of Kiev. Pripyat was a new town, built for the atomic power station workers and their families. The reactor was an RBMK, cheap to build, refueled without shutting down, and unstable at very low power. The test was set for the day shift on the 25th. The grid needed the power, and it slipped into the night. The test called for 700 megawatts. The power fell to 30, and they should have stopped there. They pulled control rods to claw the power back and stopped at 160 megawatts, with almost nothing left in reserve. The test ran, and the shutdown button was pressed. Within 3 seconds the reactor's output rose above 530 megawatts. The output jumped to around 30,000 megawatts, 10 times what the reactor was built to produce. 2 explosions followed, the second with the force of about 225 tons of TNT, and it opened the building to the sky. The first fire crews were on the roof within minutes, not knowing what they were fighting.
We didn't know it was the reactor. No one had told us.
Fragments of the core itself were lying on the ground outside the building.
I kicked it away. But one of the fighters on the other truck picked it up.
Helicopters flew over the open core for days, dropping more than 5,000 tons of sand, lead, clay, and boron into it. Europe found out on its own. Radioactivity measurements in the Netherlands and Sweden picked up the plume within days. Pripyat was not evacuated for 36 hours. For a day and a half nobody in the town was told what had happened. When the announcement finally came, it ran to 5 sentences and named no danger at all.
There has been an accident at the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant. One of the nuclear reactors was damaged. The effects of the accident are being remedied. Assistance has been provided for any affected people. An investigative commission has been set up.
The zone was drawn at 10 kilometers, then pushed out to 30. 49,000 people left the first ring. They were not coming back. New villages were built for the evacuees, and Pripyat was left standing where it was. The cleanup ran for years and drew in people from every trade in the Soviet Union. The men who went closest to the reactor understood exactly what the radiation would do to them.
Of course we knew. If we'd followed regulations, we would never have gone near the reactor. But it was a moral obligation, our duty. We were like kamikaze.
Of 237 workers taken to hospital, 134 had acute radiation syndrome. The men who did that work are called liquidators. Their widows later sold their medals in the markets. Robots were sent onto the roof first, because the radiation up there was too high for people. The machines did not last. Their electronics died in the radiation, and men finished the job by hand.
We learned that robots are not the great remedy for everything. Where there was very high radiation, the robot ceased to be a robot, the electronics quit working.
Every shift ended the same way, with a compulsory medical examination and a record of what the man had absorbed. A concrete sarcophagus was raised over Reactor 4 and finished before the year was out. It was built fast, in bad conditions, by men who could not stay long enough to build it slowly. 30 years later the new safe confinement was rolled into position over Reactor 4. A memorial at Chernobyl carries a light for every town and city that was evacuated. Pripyat was never reoccupied. The work at the reactor is scheduled to run until 2065. When the shutdown button itself caused the surge, whose failure was that night's?